On the desolate, cold hills of a deserted island, Jilin searches for a safe camping spot. He walks for miles until he slips into a freezing river. After floating for a while, he manages to climb out and continue his arduous journey. Exhausted, he rests against a large rock, eats a flower, and reflects on how his current predicament began. Jilin is serving a life sentence for the assassination of 6 men. One afternoon, he's summoned by the prison governor, who asks him about his dreams. Other prisoners are also interrogated. Moryak dreams of seeing the sea, Yakut wants to witness the war against China, Obazianka remains silent, Obezian wishes to become a prison governor, Tolia desires to follow the space station's progress, and Sipa longs to see women again. Jilin's answer, however, is not revealed. The governor informs them they've been selected for transfer to a penal colony. Shortly afterward, all prisoners are boarded onto a ship. Like in the actual prison, they are divided into groups and placed in cells. Obezian immediately asserts dominance, even killing a man to claim his bed. As the hatch closes and the boat departs, the prisoners panic, fearing it's a trick to let them die at sea. As violence erupts, Jilin remembers a conversation with Sipa in prison. Sipa, who suffers from severe mental issues, often drew on walls and spoke nonsense. That day he mentioned heaven and hell having no seats left and a third purgatory-like place being prepared for people like them. Jilin had dismissed it then but now sees its potential truth. Eventually, everyone calms down, attempting to pass the trip by chit-chatting and eating. Midway through the journey, a gang escapes from one of the cells, searching for their compatriot. Obezian pretends to negotiate, only to kill the man they seek, sparking a riot. Prisoners on both sides begin hitting and killing each other through the bars, except for Steri, an old man who remains behind, praying. The fight is brief. Guards quickly arrive, firing a warning shot before deploying a sleeping gas grenade to knock everyone out. Eventually they reach a deserted island. The prisoners are put into numbered handcuffs and left on the beach to hear from Mr. Olofsson and Marta, the heads of the Terra Nova project. Since the death penalty has become illegal, prisons are overflowing. The Russian government has offered this land to start this internationally funded project. From today, the prisoners are colonists living under their protection. Everything they need, including a 3-month supply of food, is provided. A satellite will constantly monitor them and communication buoys are scattered around. They can take a boat to a buoy, press a red button and state their needs. A green light indicates acceptance. Obezian, unhappy about being recorded 24/7, throws a large rock in protest, but guards quickly subdue him with warning shots. Marta clarifies that buoys can also be used to request leaving the project by stating their name and reason. If accepted, they'll return to prison. Placing buoys at sea rather than on the beach ensures that this decision is carefully considered before risking a boat trip. Before leaving, guards drop a pile of numbered keys on the sand, matching the handcuffs. Prisoners rush and fight over them, while Jilin and Sipa safely stay back, only collecting the dropped keys. Steri also observes as a gang forms a line around the keys to exclude rivals, and another group grabs weapons from crates to attack the crowd. Eventually, Ali's gang takes control. Ali secures a jacket and good shoes for himself and Steri before choosing a man to send out on the boat. As soon as he grabs someone, the group seizes the opportunity to attack, and the fight resumes. Dozens die. Moryak kills Ali with a rock, Obezian kills Steri also with a rock, and the 3 men who get on a boat to reach the buoy fall into the sea and drown. All remaining prisoners go to the warehouse and distribute supplies. Obezian uses found tools to forcibly open his cuffs. Jilin packs supplies in a bag and grabs a jacket, listening to Sipa lament that the food won't last 3 months. Jilin then leaves the area to survive alone and find a way off the island, bringing us back to the beginning of the story. Jilin explores the island until he finds a snow-free area with a rocky formation offering shelter. He sits there, looking at a hidden family picture from his prison uniform. He misses them terribly and falls asleep with tears in his eyes. Sometime later, he wakes to squealing. The supplies were infested with rodents and they're eating through his food and bag. When it starts raining, Jilin takes shelter under the rock formation, starting a fire for warmth and heating water. After the rain stops, he catches and roasts a bird. That's when Sipa finds him. As they chit-chat, Sipa tries to steal Jilin's knife, but Jilin sees him and takes it back. Sipa offers some salt and his help in exchange for meat, which Jilin accepts. Sipa goes to pick up more wood and sees the family picture Jilin hung on the rocks, blowing a kiss at Jilin's wife. Afterward they share the bird. When they're done eating, Sipa walks to the cliff edge, explaining he won't jump because he's too afraid. He asks Jilin why he won't die either, and Jilin explains it's because of his family. They're dead and he wants to be buried next to them, which can't happen if he dies on the island. The two men fall asleep. When Jilin wakes up, he finds Sipa has stolen the picture to use as inspiration for his debauchery. Furious, Jilin beats him up and pushes him off the cliff, but Sipa doesn't die, landing on a hill directly underneath instead of falling into the ocean. Despite this disagreement, the two travel together, exploring the island. Sipa easily amuses himself with trash found in the water while Jilin tries to fish, but the only living being they find is some kind of aquatic centipede, which freaks Sipa out. While looking around, Jilin is shocked to suddenly find part of a seaplane among the rocks. Going a bit farther up the hill, he finds the entire plane, giving him hope because he used to be a pilot and could fly it. However, two men aren't enough to move it, so for now they return to their shelter. Jilin starts a fire with matches he grabbed at the warehouse, but something in them creates very toxic smoke. He moves away from the fire and drags a sleeping Sipa with him, who initially won't wake up. It takes a few shakes from Jilin for him to finally regain consciousness, but his mouth only continues to spout nonsense, and Jilin realizes the cold will kill them any minute now. The two men decide to go back to the base and see if they can steal some coal. Back at the base, life hasn't been easy for everyone. Obezian and his gang are in control, maintaining a routine while sharing supplies, and Obezian even demands to be called governor. They keep anyone not in their team inside the barracks, only allowing them out for a walk in an enclosed area, similar to real prisons, while Estinitz yells at them from the watchtower. When sent back, they must run because the last one gets killed to be used as food later. Jilin and Sipa manage to reach the coal box and find the remains of a fire. After walking so long, they're almost freezing, so they can't help but lie down next to the fire and fall asleep. But Sipa wakes up quickly when he hears noises. The gang is coming over with their latest prisoner for roasting. He runs to hide behind a rock, but Jilin is still out there, so he comes back out to rescue him. However, he isn't fast enough, and Obezian's men find and capture them. The two are taken back to base, where Obezian tries to decide their punishment for having run away with supplies when they arrived. Yakut tries to remind them that they were on their side during the ship fight, causing Estinitz to insult him for trying to meddle. Yakut retaliates by hitting him, prompting the whole gang to team up and hit him in return, earning Yakut a place in the barracks with Jilin and Sipa. They walk around for a while, and when Estinitz announces it's time to return, Jilin stays behind, but Sipa comes back for him and drags him inside. They can only watch as the last standing man is captured and tied to a pole, begging for some water as his last wish. Sipa takes pity on him and brings a cup to his lips before he is killed. Later, before going to sleep, the group discusses the possibility of rebelling. They're unsure because it may be dangerous, but Shram convinces them it's worth trying. The next morning, Tolia shows Obezianka a secret trap he installed in his workshop to catch any potential thieves. After the group takes their daily walk, Estinitz tries to get them back inside to start the usual game, but only two men run. The rest stand back and gather together while Yakut throws a rock at Estinitz to shut him up. Jilin walks up to Obezian and offers him a deal. If he lets them go to the buoy and ask for food, he'll tell him the location of the plane he found. Obezian accepts and opens the gate to let them out. While Tolia and Jilin go with two other men on the boat, Obezian asks his men if they know anything about Jilin, and that's how he learns he was a pilot, that his family died in a plane crash, and he went to jail for killing flight dispatchers at the airport with a rifle. This crime was classified as murder in a state of severe emotional agitation, which Obezian thinks means Jilin has a guilty conscience. As soon as the boat is far enough, he orders the group to go back to the barracks, canceling his deal. Yakut tries to confront them but is immediately killed. Obezian grabs one more man before declaring the game is on again. The group can only run back to the barracks since a fight would be a very bad idea because Obezian's men are armed. Meanwhile at sea, one of the men falls off the boat, but they catch him just in time and drag him back up. Tolia reaches the buoy and asks for help, but it's broken and not even his tools will help. They go back to the shore, and Jilin tells Obezian that food is on its way, but Obezian doesn't believe him because there wasn't a green light of confirmation. Tolia reminds him of the existence of the plane, but Obezian doesn't believe that's true either, but it inspires Obezianka to move around with his arms open like one. Obezian finds this distracting and grabs him by the neck, so Tolia uses the chance to come at him from behind and kill him. Two other members of his group, Amerbek and Arzanov, kill the rest of their gang and watch Estinitz run away before they can catch him as well. They ask Jilin what to do next, and he asks them to free the men from the barracks because he swears food is coming and they just didn't see the light because it was broken. The men are skeptical about this and remind him now they have plenty of bodies to feed on later, but Tolia thinks they should be buried. Jilin reminds him about the plane as well, so Amerbek and Arzanov finally accept. They free the prisoners and tell them they'll be waiting a few days for the food to arrive, but they won't be using each other as food anymore, so everyone needs to stay calm and cooperate. They'll also send a group to rescue the plane, which they'll put in a hangar they'll build and slowly repair it to escape later. Suddenly, Sipa interrupts their plans, claiming there's no satellite while writing an SOS message using sand and 3 bodies. Sometime later, Estinitz returns to the base. Because of the new rules that dictate keeping the peace, they decide to ignore what he's done to them for now and share their food with him anyway. Jilin guides a group of men towards the plane, and their moods greatly improve when they see he's been telling the truth. Together, they disassemble it for easier transport and carry the pieces back to base. Eventually, Marta arrives at the island with a group of guards. They use gas to keep the men away, but they allow Jilin to approach and discuss the list of requested items. She's confused why they're asking for gas, and he explains it's for the generators, which are supposed to be wind-powered but don't work during the polar night. In truth, they want the gas for the plane. Jilin takes the opportunity to ask why they didn't answer Sipa's SOS message, and Marta explains their satellite is infrared. They see heat, so they can locate people and stoves but not words. She also wants to know what people were doing so far away from the base some days ago, and he tells her they were fishing. They don't believe him because there's no fish in the area, so he lies again and tells them they've been eating those centipede-like creatures, which she finds very shocking. They also want to know how many of the original 206 colonists are left, which Jilin finds suspicious because they should be able to tell with their satellite. He tells them 87 are left and many are sick, but nobody wants to abandon the project and return to jail. Before Jilin leaves, Marta tells him he has the right to one personal request, so he gives her a few sheets of paper asking her to provide the group well. Once the guards have left the new supplies, Jilin and his men test the gas in the plane hidden in the hangar and happily confirm it works. Afterward, they watch a new group of American prisoners arrive as the guards and Marta leave the island. These prisoners also have a leader, a very large man that Jilin tries to shake hands with. The man refuses, hitting Jilin, which triggers a brutal fight between both sides where no one hesitates to kill. Sipa drags Jilin to hide him in the workshop. One of the Americans tries to follow them but falls into Tolia's trap and dies instantly. Arzanov confronts the American leader and is overpowered, but before he can be killed, Amerbek intervenes and kills the big man instead as the surrounding buildings catch fire. All this is being watched by the project heads. When they realize the situation is finally out of control and that over 40% of the colony has been killed, Marta calls the central office and is told to proceed with Code Naked Island. This sends a group of guards to the island who shoot all the remaining prisoners while Marta burns Jilin's letters. Luckily, a few men are still alive thanks to having hidden in the mountains or the hangar. Jilin, Sipa, Arzanov, and Tolia. Together, they push the plane out, but as they're about to board it, Sipa tells them goodbye and runs to the hills so he can jump into the ocean, no longer afraid. The remaining trio gets in the plane, and Jilin manages to make it take off safely. Although the guards shoot at them on the way, his 2 companions die, but Jilin isn't hit by the bullets, so he flies away into his freedom. And that's where the story ends. Please like and subscribe to support the channel and share your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you for watching and see you on the next video for more fun recaps.